It's the economy today, and today we want to look at political economic corruption in Nigeria. You know, a situation that has brought the country to its knees. A lot of things has happened. Many administrations have been accused of corrupt practices, and it continues. Even those who have promised to fight it continue to falter even in the corruption. It seems everybody, when they get in there, they say they are going to do this and do that, but they end up doing the wrong things. So we want to look at how the impact of this, the corruption in politics, and how it impacts on the economy. So I have with me in the studio a political analyst, a politician himself, Folarin. Joseph, welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, Folarin, we look at, you know, from when the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, was about to enter office, or when he entered, he said one of his major agendas was to fight against corruption, the fight against corrupt officers, corrupt practices, corruption everywhere. But now that he has left, there have been, you know, talks about how corruption actually, you know, fluttered under his administration, how the administration allowed for so much of corruption. In the administration of Goodluck Jonathan, it was also identified that there's so much of corruption. Then they will say, oh, some boys will just, when they don't have money, they go to Eagle Square, they just organize something, and then the federal government just pump money into there and they share money. Maybe after every two months or 3 months, they do that. And there's a whole lot of other things in government, in politics, in policing, in so many things that it has now eaten up to so many people. It was also identified under the Obasanjo administration. I think it was just the Yar'Adua administration that was not so, you know, it was a short-lived administration. Under him, though his vice took over at the end of the day, corruption was not really mentioned that much. But Obasanjo's administration, Goodluck Jonathan's administration, Buhari's administration, and now Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu's administration, all has the issue of corruption has been pointed at in their administration, in the running of the country. So from your point of view as a politician, you know, why is it that politicians are always caught up in that mess of, you know, corrupt practices, thereby impacting negatively on the economy?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think first and foremost, leadership is everything. Leadership is determine this, the course of a nation. And corruption, of course, here can be expressed in different phases of our national life. But now, due to restricting ourselves to the topic of discourse now, it has affected the political economy of the state, the social well-being, the living condition of Nigerians. I think Nigerians have felt the brunt of corruption over the years, and we need to redirect the course of Nigeria towards putting in place mechanism to ensure that the issues of corruption are minimized to a reasonable level that will not affect development outcome and that will not affect the goodies of democracy, because democracy is about good governance, it's about equity, it's about deliverables of good lease of life to people, healthcare wise, education, and infrastructure development to enable businesses to flourish. I think that has been the missing link over the years.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned morality.
Yes.
You know, on the part of some of our leaders, or even in fact all of them, yeah. Or some of them, but then some of them are the majority. You know, who are the very corrupt presidents. So when the minority enters there, the minority seems to follow the bad wagon. So now, because I have asked a politician before, a heavy politician, on the issue of, you know, we talked about development and all these things concerning corruption, corrupt practices. And he said, when you see a man, he used an illustration. He said, somebody who gets up from his bed in the morning and does not make his bed, that rearranges it before leaving, then how do you give that person a mantle of leadership? You know, how would that person live? That means that the person cannot be organized. the person cannot arrange things properly. The person just wants a scattered place. And so does it mean that all our leaders over the years have been those who have, have questionable morality, moral behaviors or moral attitudes towards leadership, towards better living of its citizenry? They just want to get in there, take their own cut of the cake and move ahead.
Yeah, often what we see is that we hear their soundbite on public forum, on a social gathering, but of course, when you look at their action, there's no...
It doesn't correlate.
So we begin to ask questions that will carry the kind of moral rectitude of this leadership. Yeah, what is their sense of conviction? How do they see what the burden of leadership, or how do they view themselves? Yeah, steering the ship of governance at their respective political positions. So those are the questions leadership need to even ask. The why is very, very important. Why am I here? Am I here to just ensure I take my piece of the Commonwealth? Yeah, just to save for the future, and we'll not ask ourselves that these people do they really believe in this country. Because if truly you believe in this country, you are patriotic. Of course, you shouldn't be taking steps to undermine the development, to stifle progress of the country. I think oftentimes I ask myself, these guys, do they really believe in this country? But from their action, it tells a lot that these people do not really believe in Nigeria.
I want to ask a question now. It keep on bugging me now. That, okay, we have the minority in leadership and then the majority outside. Now, the majority are supposed to actually determine how it is governed, how the minority govern them. But it is like the minority determines on how they govern the majority. The majority does not have any say. So what I see is that I see a lot of time you see leaders who have been found wanting in their questionable characters towards leadership or towards economic development, coming out often over and over again to contest on grounds of political elections and a lot of things, to contest for positions. They are the same people who are being subjected to advert poverty, who are subjected to the bad economic policies, who are subjected to the same corrupt practices organized by these leaders, voting for these same people, to lead them on. What causes that? Why is it that? Why is it that the mentality has totally, somehow given up on what right should be done, or what should be done that is right?
I think it's important to the value system, the colossal value system in our society. Because when we see people, we don't even ask the means or how they make their wealth. We worship material wealth so much. Yeah. We don't even give the due applause to Nigerians, hardworking Nigerians who are toiling day and night to make the society a better place. But rather we worship the criminals, the men of questionable characters who has looted our Commonwealth, and we see them in public garden. We see Nigerians jumping over them, surrounding them, cheering them up. That tells you that if putting yourself in that in the figure, it suggests that Nigeria are pleased with my performance. That's fine. Always worrying them that Nigerians will celebrate me regardless of all my failings. All I need to do is just to issue peanuts to them also when the election.
Joseph, I'll come back to you. Now, what you are trying to say, which we'll come back to, after this short break now, is that people have come to accept this EOS as a norm.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll go for a very short break. When I come back, we'll start to look at the possible solutions. Is it the structure? Is it constitutional? Is it now abiding by the rule of law in the country? We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back. We're still onto the economy today, and we're discussing political economic corruption in Nigeria. You know, the indices is quite high, and how government officials, leaders who are supposed to lead, continue every time to just siphon money and nothing happens. People just talk about it, you know, and everything just is swept under the carpet, and then these leaders come out again boasting, and then the people support them in their quest to continue to loot them. Well, I still have with me in the studio Folarin Joseph to say this thing. So in your last statement, it was more like people have totally been brainwashed, or people have totally, you know, somehow collapsed themselves to that level and accepting it as a norm that, well, if this person can steal money, if he just gives me small out of it, no problem, he can continue to steal it. As far as he gives me what I can eat. Should that continue to be a norm? And what exactly can stop that issue of corruption? Because in my next question, I'm going to be citing one particular corruption activity that happened and nothing was done about it.
Yeah, I think we need to come to terms that we can't continue this trajectory. Over the years, we've seen the evidence of this corrupt practices, celebrating questionable characters in our society. What that's led us to, leading to several vices in the society with the gang, criminal activity, the Yahoo. So these are the product of these guys, because people once you don't have the money back, people don't respect you in the society. Of course, and this is also driving our youth into looking for every means possible just to ensure that they get the money. And so these are the issues. So we need to come to a conclusion. We need to come to a place, among ourselves, the religious leaders, the opinion leaders, that we can't continue this way. What needs to be done? Can we have a mind reshift? And so can we reflect on our actions over the years? What needs to be done differently? Should we continue to worship these men who are making life difficult for the general populace in the society? I think these are the questions we need to ask. So if you can address the question, if you agree that we should, it should stop, of course, we do things differently. And when we see these people in the society, we shouldn't be praising them also. We should heap blames on them and call them out for their actions that has led the country to that brought Nigeria to this.
But you have a lot of other people supporting whatever they did. In fact, look, using the law to tell you that this and this and that, because if you see law, there's a law of immunity. A governor who has stolen so much from in fact, there are so many states now that I don't even know what they are doing. I don't know how they are doing it. They just come. The only thing we hear is that, oh, there's an election, there's a new governor. There's a new governor in place. One has stayed 4 years, one has stayed 8 years, this and that. They come back, then another set of persons come back. It's only when you have political issues there, maybe PDP and APC fighting each other, or PDP, APC and Labour Party, just like that. That's the only time you hear. Apart from that, you don't hear the economic development plans. You don't even know what is happening in those states. And it's just, some of them even reside in the Federal Capital Territory. After induction as a governor, they just go there and sit down, and then when the money comes for revenue, sharing, they go back to the states, they collect the money, and then these commissioners come around, and all of the officials, they also donate out money to them. Chiefs are giving, some few people are giving money, they go back to the. Why is it that we don't know exactly what to do, or is it that we just decide to follow these people and believe in, like we always say, God will do it?
I think there's a need for the media also to intensify advocacy also, so to keep sensitizing the citizen also. Because an enlightened mind will ask the right questions also. Because the ruling class feel so comfortable because Nigerians are not asking them the tough questions, and when the opportunity presents itself, they shy away from engaging Nigerians also. And the responsibility lies on the media also to keep holding the political leaders accountable, the ruling class especially, scrutinize the budget in collaboration with the civic society also. They need to explain the policy of government to the average Nigerians in simple language. So when citizens are empowered with information, vital information, I think it makes it easy for them to engage their political class, to engage their political leaders at all level, from the local government, their representative, and the National Assembly, the governors, the state assembly, and also the president also. So our media need to spotlight issues in the society, most especially how our budget is being, our funds is being allocated to several sectors of the economy, the recurrent expenditure, or how much borrowing is the government proposing, also, and what is the targeted loan. Yeah, what goal will the loan achieve? Is the loan tied to capital expenditure that will add value to the economy, that will create an enabling environment to ensure that investors can come in more also, and also
there's something I want to say. I heard what you talked about now. You're just talking about how Nigerians should, try to see how they continue to make sure that they now come out to question moralities, of leaders. But then again, if you look at some countries,
yes,
you find out that it is not even the morality of the people that ask government questions. It is the structure, the system. There's a system the government works with. That's everybody is like I learned in Canada, almost every government official or every government official has a second job. It is the job of being a government official or a leader does not mean it is a job that is permanent, that it is a job you must do and then it is a career. But you must have a careerable job that you do apart from the other one. And so that is why you have more of young people in government than the older ones. So that's what I learned that happens in Canada and some other parts too. So why is it that Africa seems to be different? Nigeria seems to be very different from this. Is it that we continue to tell the story of crawling, that don't worry, America took 100 years to develop, so how old are we? Let us also learn from it. But again, the issue of a learning process to getting there, it seems it is taking forever. And it seems the government or the elites, those who are on top there, are taking advantages of the issue of let us wait for our time. So what is there to be the solution? Is it the structure? Is it the constitution? Or is it the system?
Yes, let me go back a bit, like I pointed out earlier on here, in respect to value system. Yes, Nigeria is them as a very religious country also, and then the greater responsibility lies with the religious leaders also of all faith also, to keep speaking out to their members also, but they wield so much influence also, and so through their influence also they can continue to speak about the ills of the society also, and also teach a impactful system that will improve the mindset of their members, respective members. I think it will go a long way also, aside the responsibility of the media also, in increase advocacy, sensitization also. Yeah, like you pointed out also, is it the system that is wrong? Is it the constitution? I think for Nigeria, when we look at it, that democracy is working in other countries also. So why is it not working here? I think it's important to the political leadership also. The leaders we elect into the respective position also. I think there's nothing wrong with Nigeria, but there's everything wrong with the political leadership. Yeah, because the political leadership has find a way to frustrate the institutions for upholding the set task and responsibility. Of course, we have the anti-corruption agency in Nigeria, the ICPC, FCC, of course. Without the political leadership, of course, they can't function effectively in terms of carrying out investigation, in terms of pursuing these cases in the court of law. And also, yes, that's aside also when we look at the judiciary also, how well are they are they immune from corruption also? Where is justice being perverted oftentimes in Nigeria here, or justice is always for the highest bidder? So what could these institutions also find a way to embody corruption in Nigeria here? When we hear so much billions and you hear that there's a plea bargain in place, that you return so amount back and others should be forfeited. The one forfeited, and the one given to the person's supposed fraudulent characters also, being allowed to part away with it. Now, are you telling us that he has the right to take away public funds?
That's what I wanted to add. Like I told you, I mentioned that I'm going to mention an incident,
okay.
Though I have to mention it on here, on air now. Now, I would have mentioned the one that happened with the former administration,
okay.
Who that was a bit later, but there's one that happened earlier that affected the country, that is still affecting the country as it is, that led so many people to go bankrupt, to led so many people to even commit suicide at some point.
Okay.
And that was the Naira change, the redesign of the Naira.
Okay, yeah.
And at the end of the day, the former CBN governor was arrested. And at the end of the day, what we now hear that he paid so amount on bargain plea, just to plea bargain to just bail himself and all that.
Yeah.
He paid this amount and it ran into trillions. Now, I am finding it so difficult that a criminal, a boy who stole, or a young man who actually went out there to steal something that is worth maybe not so much of, say, 10,000 naira, arrested and then prosecuted and then sent to jail for a number of years. And sometimes he could even be, if care is not taken, he could even be assassinated along the line, one way or the other. But he's sent to jail to suffer for that his crime for a number of years. He's punished, really punished. Meanwhile, these other persons can steal trillions and trillions and billions of dollars, and nothing will happen. Corruption can happen under them and nothing will happen. The only thing that will happen is plea bargain. Okay, EFCC, I've stolen this amount. Okay, I plead that, yes, I did steal this amount. But the issue is that I cannot return all that amount. So this is the amount I can return. Please leave me alone. And EFCC collects the money and they let the person go. And the person comes back again to the system, bragging with the same money to campaign for a position or something, and these people will still vote him in. The system will still bring him in. Now, what happened? Did the system do right by allowing things like plea bargain, allowing people just to go to court and then over court? You can have somebody who was caught for corruption, stealing heavy money, be in court for more than 10, 20 years. And if at some point a particular administration, if favoring that person, could just strike that out entirely. There's the former minister under Jonathan, whom up to date, the case is still there. It's just pending, it's just there. So, yeah, there are a lot of anomalies that I see, and it is crazy. So what exactly? Why is our law always very peculiarly softer on those who steal huge sums of money? The leaders, the elites that steals huge sums of money, and then cruel to those who are just called maybe just people who stole bread along the line, or stole this and that, and that is maybe the money is worth maybe highest 50,000 naira or so, whatever. Why is it that? Why that?
Yeah, it's important to the operators of the system also. Like you rightly pointed out, the criminal justice system of the country at the moment, where other criminals who are stealing so much are parted at the back after releasing part of the money stolen. And the excuse the government always gives is that okay, to reduce the time spent prosecuting this case. I think that we reduce the short time, the money spent on prosecuting the case, and reduce the time the matter is before the court. But I think it is really it is unfair to the citizen, unfair to the country, because this is a commonwealth of the country, and this money are meant for specific needs. And if an individual, by virtue of his position, abuse his privilege, abuse his office by diverting public funds, there should be repercussion for this also. I think the earlier the better we have life sentence for these corrupt political leaders, and it will serve as a deterrent to others also who are eyeing this opportunity when they get into office also to also perform similar action also. I think our law needs to be straightened also to ensure that no corrupt officials, political officers, escape the wrath of law. Yeah, so there will be no cover up or technicality ground for some of these corrupt to hide on that just to evade justice. I think this is very, very important. The need for us to reform our criminal justice system also. And cases of corruption need to, if a case is brought before a court, I think marked within 6 months, this case should be educated on. Justice should be delivered on this matter. But the longer it gets, the attention is shifted to another issue, and at that point, then there are so much behind the scene activities we hear sometimes. Maybe the SDB presented before the court get missing, prosecutor is nowhere to be found. So we start hearing so many stories.